Om
Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om
Sahana
Vavatu
Sahanau
Sahano Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai
Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti.
So, we were looking at the three avasthas and the definition of consciousness in the three avasthas. So, we saw Jagrat avastha and Swapna avastha in mantra 3 and 4. Now he comes to the Sushupti avastha. So, mantra number 5, we will chant. Yatra supto na kanchana kamam kamayate.
Yatra supto nakam chana kamam kamayate
na kanchana swapnam pashyati.
Na kanchana swapnam pashyati
Tat sushuptam
tat sushuptam
sushuptasthana eki bhutah
Sushuptasthana ekibhutah
prajnana ghana eva
Prajnana ghana eva
Anandamayo hi anandabukh
Anandamayo hi anandabhuk
Cheto mukha prajnastritiya padaha
Cheto mukha prajnastritya padaha.
Okay, so I'll just mute you all. Okay. So we are discussing the third aspect of Brahman, consciousness. And this third pada is the all-pervading consciousness, who am I actually, Brahman. And that consciousness associated with the Sushupti avastha is called the third pada. So we saw that consciousness associated with the waking state, Jagrata avastha, is the waker, Vishwa. And also we saw Vishwa plus Virat. And associated with Swapna avastha, it was Tajasa and Hiranyagarbha. And also associated with Sushupti avastha, it is Prajna and it will be Antaryami. So this is the state of the consciousness, which of course, whenever we say consciousness, you have to remember I, Brahman. I associated with Jagrata avastha, I am the waker, as well as the universe, Jagrata avastha, universe. I associated with Sapna avastha, I am Tajasa and Hiranyagarbha. I associated with Sushupti avastha, I am Prajna and Antaryami. Independent of the avasthas, remember that I have no attributes. I am neither waker, nor dreamer, nor sleeper, nor Sushupti avastha sleeper. Now here in the first part, if you remember in the earlier mantras, though we talked about Jagrad and Swapna avastha, the definition of the avastha was not given. He simply said that the consciousness associated with that avastha is called so and so. The definition of Jagrata Swapna avastha was not given, but the definition of Sushupti avastha is given here. And once you study that, you can extract from that what is Jagrat and Swapna avastha definition. So he says, Yatra Supto. In that state, in that sleep state, Na kanchana kamam kamayate. One does not have any desire, kamayate, there is no desire for kanchana kamam, external objects, right? As well as na kanchana swapnam pashyati. as well as there is no desire or experience of internal objects. So there is no desire for external objects as in Jagrata Avastha, and there is no desire for the internal world as in Swapna Avastha. So such a state where neither of the experiences exist, they are called, that is called Tat Sushuptam. It is called Sushuptam. Sushuptam literally means dreamless sleep. Okay, so the adjective here, deep sleep, when we say, we actually mean dreamless sleep. And we should note here that many books by modern authors, they equate the term REM sleep with Sushupti Avastha, right? Many books, they say REM sleep and Sushupti Avastha are the same. So those of you who are familiar with that term, would that be an appropriate, what I call, classification? Doctors are there in this group, they can tell. Natraji, Rashmiji, Arunaji, all doctors. What do you say?
We studied that, but with the movement of the eyeball, rapid eye movement, it may not be deep sleep.
So you have to look at what Shastra says is Sushupti and what science says is REM. This rapid eye movement sleep is associated with what? Dreaming
Physical
or not
body.
dreaming? Sorry, physical body, yes, but dreaming or not dreaming?
Dreaming, I think.
Dreaming, right? Because it is said that REM sleep is the sleep where your dreams are most active. While Sushupti Avastha, what is the state? Your mind is resolved. There is no dream, right? So it seems unlikely that that is a correct classification. REM sleep cannot be equated to Sushupti Avastha because one is active dreaming and one is no dreams at all. So that's by the way, but just in case you come across that term, a lot of people do say this. A lot of teachers say that REM sleep is equivalent to Sushupti Avastha, possibly because it is said that during REM sleep, you relax the most. And Shastra says that in Sushupti Avastha, you relax the most. Maybe that is the reason why that interpretation is taken. Okay, then. So, that's Sushuptam. So, that is the definition of Sushupti Avastha. Then it says Sushupta Sthanaha. Now, Sthanaha, literally here, the consciousness, which is, it is the name of the consciousness associated with Sushupti Avastha. Sushupta Sthanaha. Similarly, we saw Jagrit Sthanaha and Swapna Sthanaha. They were all the names given to the consciousness associated with those particular states. And we said that Jagrit Sthanaha is actually also called Vishwa, and Swapna Sthanaha is also called Tajasa. So Sushupti Sthanaha is also called what?
Prajna.
Prajna. Right. So the consciousness viewed or rather seen through, associated with Sushupti Avastha is called Prajna. And Sushupti Avastha, that particular consciousness is also called Karana Atma. Remember, there also in the earlier ones we said that Vishwa can be taken, Vishwa and Virat can be taken as the Karya Atma. Both are Karya Atmas. Vishwa is a Karya Atma and Tajasa is a Karya Atma, which means Karya means product, right? So remember that Sushupti Avastha, the Sushupti Sthana, Prajna, is otherwise called the Karana Atma because the Antaryami is the Karanam for both Hiranyagarbha as well as for Virat. So in this, if you extend it backwards, Prajna is the cause for Taijasa as well as for Vishwa. and it's easier to understand if you take it at the universal level. When you say Antaryami is cause for Hiranyagarbha as well as cause for Virat. And therefore it's also called Karana Atma. The next word is Eki Bhutaha. So Eki Bhutaha literally means it is in one form only. That is to say, all differences are no longer visible. So differentiation caused by sound, by touch, by form, by taste. So Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha differentiation basically caused by the five sense organs. And why do we say differentiation? Because the entire world is seen through us only through these five sense organs. All differences revealed to me by the five sense organs enable me to classify the world into five segments, and those segments are Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. And during Sushupti Avastha, the five sense organs are resolved, they are not available for action, and therefore the differences which are perceived because of the operation of the five sense organs, they are also merged. So that is called Eki Bhutaha. A single, only in one form it is available because these differences are not perceived. So all sense organs are resolved during Sushupti is the meaning. Okay, we should clarify here that when we say sense organs are resolved, many people use the word sense organs have merged, but this should not be taken as non-existent, right? Sense organs cannot be destroyed because it is matter. So this merger or this resolution during Sushupti is only going into the potential condition. And that is why Eki Bhutaha is called Karana Avastha, the potential condition, also known as Avyakta Avastha, the unmanifest condition. Okay. Now, Shankara adds here in his commentary that this Eki Bhutaha is the experience of Eki Bhutaha, the of nothingness, is the result of the Jagrata Avastha and the Swapna Avastha having merged. How? By resolving into Sushupti. Remember that in Jagrat and Swapna, there are experiences. Wherever there are experiences, there is Dvaitam, there is duality. So Shankara is saying Eki Bhutaha is used to indicate that the Dvaitam experienced in Jagrata Avastha has merged into Sushupti as lack of experience, blankness, what we call. Similarly, the duality experienced in Swapna Avastha has merged into Sushupti Avastha as blankness, lack of experience. It is like saying, the Eki Bhutaha is like saying that this Jagrata Avastha and Swapna Avastha have not really gone away, have not really ceased to exist, have not dissolved, but they continue to be there. Only they are not being experienced by you. That is why Eki Bhutaha. It's a dissolved mass in which no differences are visible. And they only appear to have been dissolved. What is the example? That you have put off the light in your bedroom, right? Before that, when the light was on, you were able to make out the table, the chair, the cupboard, all those things. But now the light has gone, light has been put off. You are no longer able to experience them. The objects have not gone away, but they are no longer capable of being experienced because of the lack of light. Similarly, in Sushupti Avastha, Jagrata and Swapna are there. They have not gone away, but they are not experienced because your mind has resolved. Therefore, only from the point of view of Anubhava, experience, they are not available. But really speaking, you cannot say that they are gone, right? So it's like when the lights go away, really speaking, the objects are still there. Your cupboard is there, your table is there, your chair is there. Only your capacity to observe them that capacity which is dependent upon the light being there, that capacity has been lost. And one more important point is there. Once the objects cannot be differentiated, there are no differentiating thoughts also. It's a very important point. Okay, like as long as table and chair are visible, I have a table thought and a chair thought. But once the objects are not there, the object cognition also goes away, right? So usually there are many external objects, and so there are many corresponding to each external object. There is a vritti, an internal thought. So as many different objects are there outside, that many different thoughts are there internally in your mind. In Sushupti, the differentiation of the objects, they resolve. And Shankara adds here that when the differentiation of the objects resolve, remember the differentiation of the thoughts also resolve. And therefore there are two words used. One is eki bhutaha, the next one is prajnana ghanaha. Prajnanam literally means knowledge. Ghanaha means one undifferentiated mass. So eki bhutaha has to be taken as the objects no longer being capable of being cognized, and prajnana ghana has to be taken as the knowledge of the objects. They are also merged. They also go away because the objects are not there. The objects are not differentiated. The knowledge also does not get differentiated. And therefore, the point made is here that the knowledge also gets merged in Sushupti. It is not that just objects go away. The knowledge about the objects also go away. And that is why there is no experience at all in Sushupti Avastha. Okay, so far, everything okay? I'm making sense? Any questions?
Yes.
Okay. Then the next word is Anandamayaha. So that you have to break Prajnana Ghana Eva Anandamayaha. Anandamayaha, this Prajna, this consciousness associated with Sushupti Avastha, which is called Prajna or Karana Atma, is saturated with Ananda. Anandamayaha is saturated with Ananda. Ananda is there as a product, full of happiness. What is the reason why the Prajna has Ananda? So you can say now the first reason is because the individual name and form, they are resolved. And why is that a reason? Because it is the form and consequently the name which limits me, the unlimited Atma. My identification with the individual form, I am this person who is 5 feet 6 inches or 6 feet 3 inches. I am a man, I am a woman, I am an Indian, I am a European. These are the limitations, the attributes. And these are transferred to the Atma from the Upadhi. But in Sushupti Avastha, that Upadhi is resolved because the mind is resolved. And any individuality is always caused by the form and the name. But at the time of Sushupti, this limiting Nama Rupa, they get resolved. So I no longer take myself as an Indian sitting in Ahmedabad, 5 feet 6 inches on the bed. And therefore, once the individuality is lost, the attached sense of limitation also goes away. That is why Sushupti, I am limitless because I am in my original self, which is Brahman, unattached, not limited by any upadhis. Upadhis have not gone away, right? Upadhis have not been negated also. So upadhi can stop limiting you in two ways. One is upadhi goes away, and one is upadhi has been negated. That is to say, the upadhi has been understood as mithya. So we are not talking about that over here. The limitation has become dormant because the upadhi has become dormant. And something which is dormant is not available. So because the body and the mind are dormant, for the purpose of feeling the limitation, they are unable to exert that limitation. And therefore, I experience infinitude, anantatvam. That limitlessness is ananda. And remember, the Upanishad also says, not this Upanishad, Upanishad which you have not done, the Chandogya Upanishad says that yo vai bhuma tadamritam. That which is limitless, that is happiness, that is amritam, that is immortality. And yadalpam tadmrityam. Whatever is limited, that is mortality. So limitlessness is immortality. Limited aspect is mortality. So this is what the Upanishad says, and Shankara gives a reference to that and says, in the Sushupti Avastha, you are as good as immortal because there is no limitation at all. But one thing we should note very carefully, in the mantra, the term Ananda Maya is used. Mantra doesn't say Ananda Swarupa. Why so? What is the difference? What is a mayam? The suffix mayam to any word.
Kosha.
It is
Ananda.
kosha, you cannot say. It's a product basically. So we say Anandamaya kosha because that sheath, I mean, let us say Annamaya kosha because that sheath is made of annam. Annamaya, product of annam, right? And therefore it is temporary. So the suffix Anandamaya here indicates that this happiness is temporary happiness. It is conditional, it is limited happiness. Also we can say it is experiential happiness because it is in a state, in Sushupti Avastha. As long as the Avastha is there, I am experiencing that limitlessness, that Ananda. But the moment Sushupti Avastha is over, the Ananda also goes away. Thus it is the Ananda which comes and goes. While when you say Ananda Swarupa, it is understood Ananda. Once you have understood yourself as Brahman, that condition is permanent. That Ananda is permanent. And therefore, to differentiate that, the mantra says Ananda Maya. It is a temporary Ananda obtainable only in the Avastha. Once Avastha is gone, Ananda also goes away. That's the first reason. Now, the second reason is that in the waking state, there are two forms of divisions, either as subject-object or as subject-object instrument, right? The first state where there is a subject and object, it is consisting of two things, subject-object and therefore Dvaitam, duality. And the third one, the second one, subject-object instrument is also duality, but we call it Triputi because there are three things, subject, object, instrument. So one is twofold division, the other is threefold division. And if you think back, you will see that Jagrada Avastha and Swapna Avastha consist of this twofold division or threefold division or both. And therefore Jagrada Avastha and Swapna Avastha are called Savikalpa Avastha. Savikalpa means with the Vikalpa, with the differences, with the divisions. And Vedanta, of course, says, which we know by now, that wherever there is a division, there will be raga, there will be dvesha, there will be duality. Wherever there is raga, dvesha, there will be ichha, there will be sukham, there will be dukham, there will be karma, there will be punyam, there will be papam. So wherever division is there, samsara is unavoidable. And in Jagrada Avastha and Swapna Avastha, division is there. Samsara is unavoidable. Whereas in Sushupti Avastha, it is Nirvikalpa Avastha. There are no such divisions experienced. And therefore, everybody in Sushupti Avastha experiences this Nirvikalpa Avastha. That is why we say that you need not work towards Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because that experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi is available to you every day in Sushupti Avastha. Right? So, broadly speaking, the experiences are the same. In one you are lying down, in one you are sitting. So, sitting down, we call it Samadhi. Lying down, Sushupti Avastha. The experience which you have, the lack of experience is the same. And in both Samadhi and Sushupti Avastha, it is Nirvikalpa. There are no divisions at all. There is no raga, there is no dvesha, there is no kama, there is no krodha, and therefore there is no samsara at all. What is the disadvantage? Sushupti Avastha or Samadhi Avastha, they are only temporary, and therefore the resultant Ananda is also temporary. That is why in Vedanta we say that instead of trying to achieve a Nirvikalpa Avastha, we should work for Nirvikalpa Jnanam. What is the difference? Avastha is a state. Jnanam is that same divisionless is gained as a understanding arising out of teaching. And if Jnanam is gained as an understanding, then I will be Nirvikalpa all the time. I am Nirvikalpa all the time, not just in Samadhi or a Sushupti. But even in Jagrata Avastha, I will be Nirvikalpa only. Therefore, the distinction is there between Yoga and Vedanta. Nirvikalpa Jnanam is Vedanta. Nirvikalpa Avastha is Yoga. The yogi's destination is always Nirvikalpa Avastha. The Vedantin's destination is always Nirvikalpa Jnanam. Okay. Now, in his commentary, Shankara adds a small but very important point. He says, in the experience of Prajna and the experience of Brahman. So he called it Turiam because you will see that that is the name which we use in this Upanishad. Turiam is the name given to Brahman. Okay. And why Turiam? Because Turiam is the fourth pada, the fourth aspect. We have seen three aspects. We are seeing the fourth one. The fourth aspect is called Turiam, which you should understand as Brahman. Whenever we say Turiam, it is Brahman only. The difference, he says, between experience of Prajna and experience of Turiam, there is no difference. Shankara's point is there is absolutely no difference. And that is why he says very often Sushupti is presented as an example for moksha. And that's why the words here, Prajnana Ghana Eva, is being used. While referring to Brahman or Turiam, we do not use the term Anandamaya. Anandamaya term is used only for a product. And here it is Sushupti Avastha only. So Sushupti Ananda is called Anandamaya, a temporary Ananda available only in Sushupti and of course in Samadhi also. While Brahmananda, the Ananda available from Brahman, in terms of the knowledge that I am Brahman, I am divisionless, I am Ananda itself, that is available all the time. Of course, once you have understood yourself as Brahman, assimilated the teaching. Okay. Now, a question can be that if you are Brahman, you are Brahmananda or Atmananda, right? How is it that the Atmananda is not experienced in Jagrata Avastha, but is experienced during Sushupti Avastha? That can be a question. What is the answer? In Jagrata Avastha, there are four obstacles to the experience of Atmananda. Raga, Dvesha, Mamakara, and Ahankara. Right? Raga, Dvesha, Mamakara, Ahankara. These are all the obstacles to the experience of Brahmananda during Jagravavastha. And how are they caused? They are caused because all these four appear in the mind as thoughts. All these four are not there. They are absent in Sushupti Avastha as well as in Samadhi Avastha. There are no thoughts to disturb me. And therefore, in Sushupti or Samadhi, I experience the same Ananda. Right? So that's what he said. In the experience of Prajna and in the experience of Turiam, there is no difference at all. Okay. Then the next one is, you have to break it up carefully, the big word. He, Ananda Bhuk, Cheto Mukha. These are the words. Ananda Bhuk and Cheto Mukha. So it is not book. Okay, it is book. Book comes from the word Bhokta. So Ananda Bhuk. Not only is this Prajna full of Ananda, he experiences Ananda Bhuk. He experiences the Ananda. Now we have to understand that very carefully. That Ananda is registered as a thought. Remember, any experience, when we say, the moment you say experience, you are saying there is a thought. When I experience a pot, I have pot vritti, pot thought. If I experience a glass, I have glass vritti, glass thought. And therefore, if the Upanishad is saying Ananda Bhuk, remember that Ananda thought is there, right? The vritti is there. Now the problem is what? We have already said that mind is not available. It is resolved during Sushupti Avastha. Therefore, how can there be a thought? Shastra says this particular Ananda thought is a very, very subtle thought. And that subtle thought is registered. But where? In Karana Shariram. The Karana Shariram is capable of registering this Sushupti experience. This is called a Karana Vritti. This Ananda thought is called a Karana Vritti. What is this Ananda thought? I am experiencing Ananda. That thought is registered not in the mind, which is resolved, but in the Karana Shariram. And it is called a Karana Vritti. What happens when you wake up? You recall, your active mind recalls that Karana Vritti, right? So you may often have wondered, how is it that when the mind is resolved, how is it that I can remember that I was happy, that I had no problems? This is the method. The thought is there, but thought is registered in Karana Shariram by way of Karana Vritti. When the mind wakes up, the mind pulls out that thought from the Karana Shariram, and that is when you remember that I slept well, I was happy, I had no problems. And therefore, this Prajna is called Ananda Bhuk. Ananda Bhuk means experience of the Bhokta. So in Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, remember, it is the subtle body which is able to experience anything. But in Sushupti Avastha, the experience is registered in the Karana Shariram, the causal body. And that registered experience is recalled when the mind is awake. Okay. So what is the difference between an experience in Sukshma Shariram and experience in Karana Shariram in terms of saying it, in terms of expressing it, right? In Sukshma Shariram experience, whatever you are experiencing, you can express it at that time itself by saying, I am experiencing such and such thought. But in Sushupti Avastha, your mind is not available at that point of time. Therefore, while the registration takes place, there is no awareness that this registration is taking place. You cannot say at that point of time that I am experiencing Ananda, because registration takes place in the causal body. And after waking up, you are able to say, I slept well. Therefore, the present tense of saying I am sleeping well is not possible, because registration is taking place, registration of that particular thought is taking place in Karna Shariram. A present tense usage is only possible when the mind, the Sukshma Shariram, is present. Therefore, for Sushupti Avastha, since mind is not present, it is always in the usage, the expression is always in the past tense. All right, any questions? All things which you have not seen before, so. All right, I'm assuming that you're okay with the explanation. Okay, now we look at the term prajna. Remember, it is not prajna, it is prajna. Okay, so prajna has two derivations. One is the Tattva-Bodha derivation, prakarshena agnya. So prajna can be broken into prakarshena agnya, completely ignorant. And that is the interpretation which we gave prajna in Tattva-Bodha, because all knowledge is dormant. The individual in Sushupti Avastha is ignorant. No knowledge which you have gathered is available to you. Therefore, prakarshena agnya. Remember, this is the term applicable to the Vyashti level, at the individual level. Right? As before, remember, this consciousness is associated not only with the individual, but also with samashti, the totality. And so when you say prakarshena agnya, completely ignorant, that derivation is applicable to the individual level, to Vyashti level, consciousness associated with the body, mind, sense complex, individual body, mind, sense complex. While when you talk about the samashti level, the derivation is slightly different, but it makes the world of a difference. Instead of prakarshena agnya, it becomes prakarshena gnya. Prakarshena gnya means sarvagnya, knower of everything. Right? From the standpoint of the individual nama rupa, I am prajna, ignorant of everything. From the standpoint of totality, total nama rupa, from the universe, I am identical with who? Who is prakarshena? Sarvagnya, who is Ishvara, otherwise called
Antaryami.
Antaryami. So these are the two names. Prajna, the individual, prakarshena agnya, completely blissfully ignorant. And Antaryami, prakarshena gnya, sarvagnya, who knows everything. So from samashti angle, prajna means sarvagnya. From vyashti angle, prajna means totally ignorant of everything. But here we can take the meaning of vyashti, totally ignorant of everything. And you'll see why. Because the samashti meaning will be seen in the next mantra. So in this mantra, we are talking about the vyashti only. In the earlier mantras, we dealt with both vyashti and samashti in the individual one mantra itself. But here mantra 5 is dealing with vyashti and mantra 6 is dealing with samashti. So since 5 is dealing with vyashti, we have to take the meaning of prakarshena agnya, totally ignorant of everything. Then, chetho mukha. It's a very, very interesting word. Chetaha is consciousness, Mukha is the face or a gate or a corridor. Okay. So Chetamukha you can take as consciousness corridor or consciousness gate. What is sought to be conveyed? It's a very subtle point, an interesting point which we have not seen before. This Upanishad is saying, Shruti is saying that the waker can never go from the waking state to the dreaming state directly. He has to pass through Sushupti Avastha. So this is the definition of Sushupti Avastha. The Avastha is Chetvamukha. It's a corridor for consciousness to pass through. Right? So if as a dreamer, you want to wake up and become the waker, there is no corridor which takes you directly from dream to Jagrada Avastha. From dreamer, you will go to Sushupti Avastha, become Prajna, and then only you can go to Jagrada Avastha. So if Vishwa has to first become Prajna, and then only he can become Taijasa. Taijasa has to first become Prajna, and then only he can become Vishwa. In short, there is no direct link between dreamer and waker. It has necessarily to go through the sleeping state, to the Prajna state. Right? In other words, from Jagrada Avastha, you cannot go to Swapna Avastha without passing through Sushupti Avastha. And from Swapna Avastha, you cannot go to Jagrada Avastha without passing through Sushupti Avastha. Is it clear?
Oh, Acharya.
Yes.
So many times it's like that we suddenly startled waking up from a dream. So that seems like we are waking up directly from
It is instantaneous, but it is not. So the Upanishad here, remember, doesn't give the logic. Right? Now, what is the logic? Can you think what is the logic? Anybody?
Because you're
Remember,
changing one state to another. And
one state to another is okay, but can you go slightly further?
I was just wondering the REM movement that you had said earlier, that probably that is why that is compared to Sushupti Avastha, because from waking when you go to sleep, I mean,
You
not
go through
different.
REM.
You go through REM and vice versa also. So maybe that comparison is
That is
there.
also one comparison. But here, in Sushupti Avastha, you are not identified with any body, right? None of the three bodies. In Jagrada Avastha, you are identified with how many bodies?
3.
In Swapna Avastha? 2. So in Sushupti, if you leave the Karana Shariram out of this argument, then you have to say that in Jagrada Avastha, you have a physical body which you use for your transactions. In Swapna Avastha, you have a different dream physical body which you use for your transactions. Is it possible for you to use two bodies simultaneously? It is not. Like,
No.
It's like, you want to change into a night dress after coming from office. You either wear the office dress or you wear the night dress. To change, you have to go to a state where you are using neither of the dresses. Therefore, to move from physical body to dream body, you have to go to a state where you are not using any of the bodies. So logically, you have to discard one body before you can pick up another body. That's the logical solution. And of course, there must be a very small gap in time between the discarding the first one and picking the second one. So in this state, you have to have this small gap. Everyone has to go through this small gap, which is Sushupti Avastha. The only difference is it happens very, very quickly, and therefore we do not feel the intermediate state. And this state is the Prajna Avastha or the Sushupti Avastha. And that is why, since it's a state in which consciousness is without any of the either of the bodies, it's like a corridor. It's like going to the bathroom to change. And that is why Upanishad calls it a mukha, a corridor, a gateway. Okay.
It sounds logical, but I mean, it's difficult to accept because of the word deep associated with that, deep sleep, because we say so. That is why becomes a little difficult to accept, but it is logical. Yeah.
It is logical. So that is the only logic. Of course, this is the logical aspect, okay, which we have dreamt up, or at least my Guruji has dreamt up.
And
Now,
Acharya, also due to the experiences, when sometimes when we are experiencing, just suppose fear or our happiness during a dream, and we suddenly wake up, so we have that heartbeat increased and that sweating and everything. These are the experiences we go through sometimes in the dream.
yes.
So it's difficult to imagine there has been a deep sleep just before that.
Yeah, but then even medical science, if you look at it, what is the totality of dreamless sleep that you have? Each is a very tiny one.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what science says.
Shanik.
Yeah, Shanikam. Okay. So this is the logical answer which we can give. But Anandagiri in his commentary gives a very technical reason. He says, now I'll use another argument. Supposing you got a gold bangle with you and you want to make it into a gold ring. What will you do?
Melt it. Yeah.
Will melt it.
So
the karyam, the product bangle, first becomes the karanam, the gold, and then is converted into the karyam, the ring. Correct. And Anandagiri argues that one product cannot become another product straight away. It has to first merge with the karanam before becoming another karyam. And therefore he says, what is the karanam of Vishwa and Taijasa? They are prajna only. Therefore Vishwa has to merge with prajna before becoming Taijasa and vice versa. Therefore prajna is mukha, the gate, the corridor. Vishwa merges and then Taijasa emerges. It is the dressing room where the change takes place.
Yes.
So next one is a bit longer also. So we'll stop here. Any questions we can take? All very profound things which you don't see anywhere else.
Acharya, there's been another question in my mind. In sleep, in a dream state, we always say the consciousness is involved. But then total dream bird, like Samashti dream bird, we say Hiranyagarbha. But then dream bird is always individual. Nobody knows my dream bird. Only I know my dream bird.
Correct.
So it's difficult to imagine the Samashti thing in this.
Because your dream world is a product of your mind. The universe is a product of Hiranyagarbha's mind, not yours. If you say the world is projected by your mind, then it is Buddhism. Buddhism says world is a projection of your mind. We don't say that. We said your dream world is a projection of your mind, but the Jagrata Avastha is a projection of Easwaran's mind, not ours.
Oh, okay. So Samashti is the projection of Hiranyagarbha's mind.
Hiranyagarbha's mind.
Okay.
That is where the comparison, because you project something and Hiranyagarbha projects something. You look at the similarities. Dissimilarities, of course, there. You are limited. Your mind is limited. His mind is unlimited.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this, we'll stop for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate.
Shishite.
Om Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your
Om
patience.
Shah.
Om Om
Thank
Om.
you.